Shalom, people. This is Brother Lyles coming at you with another video. And I'm going to do our lesson today, coming from the book of Exodus, the 5th chapter. We're going to be talking about making bricks without straw. Making bricks without straw. As you probably have been noticing in the news today, it seems like since the 2019 400-year prophecy, return to Africa, all these themes that were brought out about black people rising all over the world. If you haven't noticed, there also has been in America, I can say, an increase in news that, and even really leading up to 2019, it was a lot of news that brought a lot of negative light upon us. There was so many videos being released of police being called on us. So you had the Botham Shem trial last year, and it seems like there was an increase of incidents depicting us in a negative light. Not that there is anything new about that, but the multiplicity of those things seem to have skyrocketed in the last year. Well, there's a reason for that. There's also a reason for the continued incarceration of us, even though at the same time, with the opioid crisis with Caucasians, that they are not being prosecuted, and that even in all these states that have legalized marijuana, at least at the state level, still in states where marijuana has not been legalized, when black people who have small amounts in comparison of marijuana, either for recreational use, or also I'm just using the word maybe also uh, 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 dealing in small amounts of marijuana, that the book is being thrown at them, even though we understand that in some states these things can be knocked down to a misdemeanor. For some reason, we know why these things are not being done for our people. Every reason to incarcerate them is used. There's a reason for that, and we're going to get into it now as we read the book of Exodus, the 5th chapter. And it says, "Afterward Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, Thus saith the Master Elohim of Israel, Let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, Who is the master that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not the master, neither will I let Israel go. And they said, The Elohim of the Ibrim, or Hebrews, has met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto the Master our Elohim, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword. And the king of Egypt said unto them, Wherefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, let the people from their works? Get you unto your burdens. And Pharaoh said, Behold, the people of the land now are many, and ye make them rest from their burdens. And Pharaoh commanded the same day the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick. As heretofore, let them go and gather straw for themselves. And the tale of the bricks. which they did make heretofore, ye shall lay upon them. Ye shall not diminish aught thereof, for they be idle. Therefore they cry, saying, let us go and sacrifice to our Elohim. Let them let their no their let their more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regard vain words. And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, thus saith Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. Go ye, get the straw where you can find it, yet not all of your work shall be diminished. So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble instead of straw. And the taskmasters hastened them, saying, fulfill your work, your daily task, as when there was straw. And the officers of the children of Israel, which Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten and demanded, wherefore have ye not fulfilled your task in making brick both yesterday and today as heretofore? Then the officers of the children of Israel came and cried unto Pharaoh, saying, wherefore dealest thou thus with thy servant? There is no straw given unto thy servants. And they said to us, make brick, and behold, thy servants are beaten, but the fault is in thine own people. But he said, ye are idle, ye are idle. Therefore ye say, let us go and do sacrifice to the master. Go therefore now and work, for there shall no straw be given you, yet shall ye deliver the tale of bricks. The officers of the children of Israel did see that they were in evil case, after it was said, ye shall not diminish aught from your bricks of your daily task. And they met Moses and Aaron, who stood in the way as they came forth from Pharaoh. And they said unto them, the master look upon you and judge, because ye have made our Savior to be abhorred in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to slay us. And Moses returned unto the master and said, Master, wherefore hast thou so evil entreated this people? Why is it that thou hast sent me? For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he has done evil to this people. Neither hast thou delivered thy people at all. Now let's go to Exodus, the 6th chapter, and we're going to keep reading, starting at verse 1. Then the master said unto Moses, now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. And Yah spake unto Moses and said unto him, I am the master. And I appeared unto Abraham and Isaac and unto Jacob by the name of Elohim Almighty, but by my name Jehovah was I not known to them. And I and I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers. And I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am the master, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out hand and with great judgments. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a Elohim, and ye shall know that I am the master your Elohim, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will bring you in unto the land concerning the which I did swear to give it to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And I will give it you for an inheritance. I am the master. And Moses spake unto the children of Israel, but they hearkened not unto Moses for anguish of spirit and for cruel bondage. And the master spake unto Moses, saying, Go in, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that he let the children of Israel go out of his hand. And Moses spake before the master, saying, Behold, the children of Israel have not hearkened unto me. How then shall Pharaoh hear me, whom am of uncircumcised lips? Like I said, I want to talk to you from the thought of making bricks without straw. And getting back to the statement I was making about the things that are going forth in America against us as black people before I read the fifth and sixth chapters of Exodus. What you see was that um, Pharaoh was not fazed by any of the talk of the uh, uh, Ivram or the Hebrews about um, being let go to go worship their God. He was not fazed by that at all. And in fact, he was putting forth a challenge to Moses and Aaron that since your people got enough time to be talking about them going free and they going to worship their God, their Elohim rather, and all this stuff, tell them they need to get back to work. You don't need to be interrupting their work. And by the way, because they have so much time to go worship their Elohim, tell them to make bricks without straw. Tell them to go glean throughout Egypt to get the straw that normally is given to them since they got so much time. So basically, he was basically saying if you want to worship your uh, Elohim that bad, it's going to be a price to pay. There's going to be a price for you to have to pay uh, dealing with your treatment here. And you can kind of see, uh, getting back to our situation of uh, a lot of people, at least some, knowing that we was coming up on the 400 year, that as the awakening started, I guess, picking up steam around 2014-15, you could start seeing the increase in basically what we see in here, making the bricks without straw, that the the heat was being turned up on us uh, as black people. Not just here in America, of course, but I'm talking about, for my case, primarily, what did you have leading up to all this time? You had the stuff with Trayvon Martin. You had the stuff with Sandra Bland. You had the stuff with Botham Shin. You had this one, that one. You had all these, like I said, videos of us having the police called on us when we go on to swim in places that we are paying members, all this stuff. This was the heat being turned up on us by Pharaoh. But why? It was at the bequest of Yah. Think about it. Yah understood what was going to happen when he told Moses and Aaron to go tell Pharaoh. He knew that Pharaoh was going to harden his heart. He knew that Pharaoh was going to turn up the heat on the Hebrews. And this, I must say, because even when you see when Yah put the plagues on Egypt, that we know that uh, up until a certain point, the Bible said that Pharaoh hardened his heart. But when you got to a certain point, you see where Yah, the Bible said that Yah hardened his heart. Yah was causing Pharaoh to do so many things that would later give Yah the provocation to cause total devastation to Egypt by the reaction that he was pushing Pharaoh toward. He was pushing Pharaoh in the direction of rebellion against Yah. First by telling his people, "Oh, so you want to go worship your Elohim, huh? okay, well, I'm not gonna diminish your work. I'm not letting you go. And by the way, since you have so much time, I'm going to make you make bricks without straw, which was an impossible task. But this was all at the request of Yah. Why? Because Yah was trying to get the Hebrews uncomfortable in the land. Think about it. They had, we know from mathematical calculations, showed that for maybe 100 or so years that the Hebrews, when they came into the land, they was living kind of comfortable in Goshen, and we know that Joseph for a time was basically the pharaoh underneath the pharaoh. He was a proxy pharaoh for the pharaoh in the land, so they was doing pretty good. But we know that there came in a pharaoh that said probably was a foreign king that had conquered Egypt, and was afraid that the Hebrews who were multiplying were uh, one day if a army came in, that they would join the side of that army and help overthrow them, so that he started to deal wisely with them and started inflicting punishment upon them and putting them into slavery. We know that probably around the time that Moses and Aaron had came back, that they probably had been in this slavery over 100 years or so, and that they had pretty much got used to the conditions that they were in. You can kind of look at the language that they used when they got upset with Moses, when they said, "Why have you made us to look bad in front of Pharaoh?" And as I thought about even the fact of the why Yah had caused them to go into Egypt in the first place, you can look at the situation that they were in Canaan, when they were sojourning in Canaan, and when Joseph, was Joseph was sold into slavery. And we know that when they came down to Egypt, the 70 souls, they was in bad shape. That Judah had got his daughter-in-law pregnant with twins. That Reuben had slept with his father's concubine. We know that Simeon and Levi had lied to the people in Shechem after they had the I think the king's son had slept with their sister Dinah, and they got mad, and they told the men of Shechem. They said, if y'all get circumcised, we'll let we'll let the king's son marry our sister, and we'll also do intermarriages between them. You know that they lied, and they, when after the men had got circumcised, the Bible said that they went in and killed every male in the city and took the women and livestock and all that stuff for themselves. You see how they had sold Yaakov or Joseph into slavery in Egypt, and how there was much infighting amongst them. So that when they came down into Egypt, they was in bad shape, and then the slavery came upon them. The hard um, task masters that were placed over them. We know that the children were being thrown to alligators. So this is almost like a time of chastising by Yah using the Egyptians. And after Yah had got the desired results, it was time for him to bring them out so that they could go back into Canaan, because now they will be at a place where he could use them to chase out the Amorites, because he had told Abraham that the iniquity of the Amorites was not yet full. So anyway, he had to make things uncomfortable. So therefore, the things that Pharaoh was doing was already preordained by Yah that he was going to do. Fast forward to our situation leading up to the 400-year prophecy, which some people say it was actually gonna be 2020, not 2019. That's just say we are in that season. You know what my take on the year 2019? That since we are under the iron toes of Rome, and since they are according to the prophecy of Daniel, the Daniel statue, that they are the 10 toes. They are the designated world empire for right now until the mountain cut out with hands breaks the toes and smash the toes. Until then, what this is their dispensation that they are in charge of. Therefore, the Bible, that's what Daniel said. We go by their times and their laws, and since their times and their laws said it was 1619 that we came here, officially as although we were captured by the Portuguese and Spanish, that when the British took control of those slaves and brought them to Jamestown and it started the clock 1619, that's what we go by according to what their destruction is going to be, because by your mouth ye shall be exonerated, and by your own mouth or your own words that come out of your mouth you shall be condemned. And so we know that by their own words, we in 2019, August of 2019, we have been here 400 years. But leading up to that, Yah was it was trying to get our souls lean in our desire to want to continue to be here. Why do you think so many people was going back to Africa? Think about all the stuff that had led up to 2019. All the pictures of us getting shot on camera, all the stuff, court cases that black people lost that they should have won. Yah was doing just like he was doing here in Exodus 5 and chapter 5 and chapter 6. He was trying to make the circumstances of our of their living that was in Egypt so impossible that the people would be so overwhelmed with depression and grief that would be banging on the doors to get out, but they wasn't there yet. But Yah was starting a process with this making bricks without straw proclamation by Pharaoh, so that the people would get uncomfortable in the land of their captivity, because there is such a thing called Stockholm syndrome, where the captors can get used to the environment that the captors have made for them, and they can get to a point where not only will they be satisfied, and they can actually learn to love it. And I could be wrong. It was with the amount of time, but the girl Elizabeth Smart that was kidnapped by that one guy that kidnapped her when she was a young girl. I want to say that she was in captivity with him 1 year or maybe two. I'm not sure. I think it was one. It could have been two. But the thing that got me was she said that they never left the area. Elizabeth Smart said they never left that city. What the man that had kidnapped her, and he had kidnapped other I, and I want to say he kidnapped other women. I'm not sure, but I know that she was kidnapped. He made them dress heavy, so that she said it was times that she was walking probably in the same area where her parents was, but he had so traumatized her mind that she had got used to being there with him. And also, I think the fact that I think she said that sometimes he would even let her go out on her own, because he had the programming he had on her was so powerful that she would come back. I think it was eventually that she must have snapped out of the programming or whatever and went to somebody and let them know. But she had never left that area. I could be wrong. She might have left and came back. That might be what it is. I could be wrong, but whatever it was, she was in the area. You know what I'm saying? So this is what Israel, the Hebrews were dealing with. They had got kind of comfortable to a certain extent, and you can see that even after they start wandering around in the desert, where they kept talking about we want to go back to Egypt and we can have the leeks, the onions, the melons, and all this other kind of stuff. And also they was starting to work, and they kept worshiping the gods of Egypt when they was wandering through the desert. You see all this stuff to let you know that Yah had to shake them up and make them uncomfortable. And Yah is doing the same thing with us. This is why you see the news and people saying, well, this is our time, we're rising up. And if you understand the way Yah operates, we are. But remember that Yeshua said the kingdom of Yah does not come with observation, meaning, um, uh, uh, and I want to say Fred Hampton uh, said the revolution will. Hold on, let me make sure, because I hate to quote somebody of his stature wrong, because you know uh, here here it is. I want to say exactly what he said. Fred Hampton. He said he coined the term. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Hold on. I'm sorry, people. I'm trying to find the exact quote that uh that he said. Okay, hold on. Yeah, there it go. He said the revolution will not be televised. That's right. And so that's basically what Yeshua said. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be a grassroots thing. That's why it was no big broadcast that went up. Individuals that Yah was stirring up about this awakening, it just started coming, and it's a grassroots thing. And so, in order to get us collectively to the point that we gonna seek our Yah, and we're gonna seek for Him to come rescue us. Yah has to stir up the heart of Pharaoh. That's why Donald Trump was elected. Donald Trump was elected to 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 be a type of Pharaoh in the situations that we are in, to make life so for those that feel comfortable in this to get uncomfortable in it, because the revelations, Yeshua keep telling us, come out from among them, come out from among them. How are we going to come out from among them if we are comfortable with this situation? This is why you seeing people like myself and others that said we're not celebrating Christmas no more. We ain't celebrating Easter no more. We ain't celebrating the independence no more. We ain't doing no more of these things that people feel comfortable in doing. They feel uncomfortable because they feel that they going against the larger society. But understanding that we must get uncomfortable in some of these things. We must know the truth, and the truth will set you free. But remembering also that Solomon said that in the gaining of knowledge is much sorrow, and most people don't want sorrow. Just like these people that was making the bricks said, "Look, we make the bricks, we'll build the big cities, even though it's hard work. At least they're giving us straws. You making our work 10 times where all the work period was bad, but you had got so used to it. It's like the woman that has been kidnapped and sold into sex slavery after what certain amount of time that she would get say, well, there's certain kinds of customers that I like to get. No, she she should get her mind into such a extent that I'm never getting comfortable with this. But what the captors count on is our the human capacity to adapt to any situation. And y'all saying, I don't want you to adapt to any of these situations. I want you to be in this world, but not of this world. And that's the challenge. Y'all said when you was in the land, you had your peace and all that, and you didn't want to do anything with it. Now, when I thrust you out into these places, I'm going to make it hard for you to have to make those choices. I'm not going to make it easy because when you had the land, you didn't do anything with it. So now I'm going to make it even harder for you to have to make those choices. I'm gonna make it harder that if you say, well, I gotta go to this certain kind of function or I'll lose my job. Well, how many jobs are you gonna willing to lose to stay on the side of Yah? He said, I'm gonna make it like that because when I gave you y'all land, I gave it where you of course, if you're in the land where the Sabbath is the day, nobody's gonna be working. But here in the land of our captivity, us that try to observe the day of rest, not as a thing of salvation, but because in the commandments that Yah gave us, which Yah never did away with, He told us to observe the day of the seventh day as a day of rest for ourselves. And what is one of the things that's promoted in America? Oh, work, 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 work. Never stop. Go so that when it comes to exercising of the faith, we won't have enough faith. That's not to say that some of you that have to work on Saturday right now that you don't have faith, because some be according to thy faith be it unto you. But that as much as we can are trying to observe these some of these things that we ultimately understand that one day Yah will see fit when He pulls us out, will make it possible for us to be able to be in our land where we will be able to observe His laws. But right now, we are the best that we can doing what we can. But by faith, we ask Yah to have mercy on us. This is why grace was extended to us when we got thrown into, scattered and dispersed into all the places. And because Yah understood that all these things was going to befall us, well, it was going the enemy was going to make it hard, and he wanted the enemy to make it hard. One of the things that you will understand about us as black people, that even though, and not just in this land, but pretty much everywhere we went, we helped build that nation. But it seems like whenever we started enjoying not all, start enjoying some of the benefits of the land, it seemed like Yah would step in and take it away. Do you not understand that it they had to? If you go back and listen to the video I made with my wife and myself last year about our visit to Jamestown and some of the things that the guy that was giving the tour said. He said that some black slaves were able to get their freedom early on. They actually were, but did when I guess the uh, uh, slavery started showing itself to be a big business, that the English that went in, the colonists went in and changed the law and made it where if you was in slavery as a black person, you would be born into perpetual slavery. They changed it up. They changed it up, and they even made it retroactive. That some of those slaves, and a lot of them were mulattoes, but they made it where a lot of them had to go back into slavery. It was like every time we gained, y'all would take it away. Think about after slavery, for the first 12 years after the Civil War, the gains that black people made building schools, building towns, being in Congress and all this other kind of stuff, judges, lawyers, all this stuff. And then at the end of the 12 years, when the Freeman Bureau was done away with, when the Union Army was pulled out, what had happened, how Jim Crow came back and just knocked us back down. Convict prison leasing came, and blacks were being put into prison so that they could go back into slavery, because the 13th Amendment said that if you got put into jail, you would be able to be treated like a slave. Think about all this that happened. It was like every time we made gains, think about all the black Wall Streets throughout the nation that were burned down in the late early 1900s, and all the black men that were lynched for spitting on the sidewalk, or looking at somebody the wrong way, or eyeing somebody, or people thinking that you had something that you might have not had or you did had, and they would lynch you. They'll never know how many of our black men were lynched. They'll never know how many of our little babies were thrown to alligators. It was like y'all was not letting us get comfortable in this. Think about the civil rights movement. Think about some of the gains, little bit of gains that were made from the late 60s into some of the 70s, 80s. But then you think about what happened. The drugs came in the 80s. The gang violence came in. Gangster rap, all this other kind of stuff. The and we got some statistics I want to read about incarceration, about the incarceration of black men. Think about all these things. It was like, man, can't we get a break? No, we can't, because Yah, just like here in Exodus 5 and 6, he was making it uncomfortable so that when the time was come for them to leave, they will be anxious to get out of there. And that's what he is doing now. That's what he is doing now. He is allowing it. Think about this stuff that just came out about the Parchment Prison, about the conditions that these guys are living in. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Think about this thing that happened with the Botham Shem trial, where or the with Amgaga only got 10 years, and she probably end up maybe doing 5 or less if the case don't get thrown out. We know that the John family lost the civil case. One reason they lost the civil case because Joshua Brown, who would have been a big witness there, was murdered. By whom and by what, we don't know. We know who they said murdered, and we don't believe that. We believe that the Dallas police force had something to do that. We know that the Dallas police force is tied into the FBI. We know that the Dallas police force had something to do with the assassination of JFK. So if they have something to do with the assassination of JFK, and they have a long-standing a track record of against black people, what do you think happened with Joshua Brown concerning testifying against one of their own, Amber Geiger, who they didn't want her that thing to even go to the trial, had it not been for black people that were protesting and petitioning on behalf of the John family, who turned around and said, forgive the man, a woman, and we don't even want her to go to jail, which is what the judge obliged them on the civil case. At least he said, and I have a feeling that when her case goes up to appeal, that some judge is gonna probably overturn the conviction and let her go. She's gonna write a book. She's gonna become a millionaire, and you let the Brent John try to come give her a hug. Then she probably gonna have so many bodyguards hanging around her. That's not gonna happen, because she did a wonderful performance. All these things were made to make us upset and to help us to understand that we are in the land of our captivity. Y'all has to basically throw cold water in our face and wake us up to the realities that we must this is not a place that we ever gonna be able to rise to the top like we need to be. It's not. Why was it that Ghana made all this money on the year of return? Because y'all, not saying that the Africa is going to be our final destination. We understand that's not the case, but y'all is stirring us up to see that it's time for some of us to get up and out of here. We know that everyone is not going to go into Africa right now or whatever, but y'all are starting to plant that seed into a lot of people's mind. Look at all these channels popping up of black people are going over there, but not just there, going over to Asia, going to the Caribbean, going to South America, going to Russia, all these other places. It's just like the mother eagle when she builds a nest. She puts the sticker bars at the bottom, then she covers it with some straw, I think, and then I think she covers it with some duck downs. And when she have a little chicks, as they start growing, the things start sinking down further and further and further until the eaglets get big enough that now their body is pushing down onto the thorns and they can't stay in the nest because it's uncomfortable. They have to learn how to fly. They have to learn that they're gonna keep getting stuck, and so that's how they get up out of it. And this is what y'all just like when he sent Jacob and them um uh into Egypt in order for them to get themselves together from all the crazy stuff that they was doing while they was in Canaan, and then he brought them out, which we know they did wander through the desert for 40 years because they, with a bad report. But just saying with us here, uh, um, um, in uh, um, in America, some of the things that we were doing before y'all brought us into this 400 years of captivity that we were in, all the different things that we were doing in Africa that was, you know, y'all had to get our focus in on his son Yeshua, and we wasn't getting it. That y'all had to use. He said, I will use the stripes of men to get my people in order," and that's what he did. Now he gave us a little time to reprieve, but we here. But now it's time for us to start getting ready to come out. So that, but the problem is, some of us have got used to this situation that we're in, and so y'all has to turn up the heat. That that doesn't mean that everybody's gonna come out, because there's some things in the pseudepigraphical books that I haven't read, but I have heard different people talk about it. They say that there was actually some Hebrews that were part of Pharaoh's army, that was part of Pharaoh's government. Apparently, because think about it, the tribe of Manasseh and Ephraim were half Egyptian, and we know that some Egyptians, mixed multitude, came out with them into the wilderness. So, like I said, they had got so intermingled and intermixed with that it was like hard for some of them to come out. Y'all had to make it uncomfortable, and that's what's getting ready to. That's what's happening with us right now. Let me show you how y'all uh, does it. I went to the NAACP criminal justice fact sheet talking about the incarceration trends in America. This is how y'all makes things uncomfortable for us here. Here it says, on the NAACP incarceration fact sheet, incarceration trends in America. It said between 1980 and 2015, the number of people incarcerated in America increased from roughly 500,000 to over 2.2 million. It said today the United States makes up about 5% of the world's population and has 21% of the world's prisoners. 1 in 37 adults in the United States, or 2.7 of the adult population, is under some form of correctional supervision. Racial disparities in incarceration. This is the point. This is what I want to concentrate on. It said in 2014, African Americans constituted 2.3 million, or 34% of the total 6.8 million correctional population. So we made up a third, over a third of the um, correctional population in this country. That's madness. Do you understand? A third. So y'all is he's turning the heat by just allowing them to just throw our people in prison like it ain't no tomorrow. Listen to this. African Americans are incarcerated at more than 5 times the rate of whites. The imprisonment rate for African American women is twice that of white women. Nationwide, African American children represent 32% of children who are arrested, 32% of children who are detained, and 52% of children whose cases are judicially weighed to criminal court. So they just looking for a reason to throw our men and our women in prison. This is y'all saying our government is gonna make you make bricks without straw, meaning that if you jaywalk, if you spit, you gonna get some time. Y'all is trying to make it uncomfortable for us here. He's allowing this to happen. When you consider that we do have black politicians, we do have black judges, we do have black police chiefs, we do have black police commissioners, we do have black mayors, and still, this is what happened. He said if African Americans and Hispanics were incarcerated at the same rate as whites, prison and jail population would decline by almost 40%. Do you understand what it is saying right there? If our rate, the rate of us that was the rate, same rate that they incarcerate white people, that the present prison population across the board will go down 40%, which goes back to the fact that it says that we make up 34% of the total 6.8 million correctional population, African Americans. Well, I guess this one, when it say African Americans and Banner, that's what it was raised up to 40%. But we alone as black people make up 34%, a third of the prison population. Yah is trying to make things uncomfortable for us here and let you know that you can get thrown in jail for anything. It don't matter. And it has some other stuff here about drug disparities in the sentencing. It has some more information. This is a pretty good site. It has some things about the effects of incarceration, talking about the infectious diseases that are okay. I'll read this part. You pretty much know about the drug sentencing disparities. Well, let me go ahead and read that too. Drug sentencing disparities. In the 2015 National Survey on Drug Use and Health, about 17 million whites and 4 million African Americans report having used an illicit drug within the last month. African Americans and whites use drugs at similar rates, but the imprisonment rate of African Americans for drug charges is almost 6 times that of white. That's why they have an opioid crisis and they can overdose and get out that morning and go back that night with an overdose because they're not arresting them. They're giving them treatment. They're not giving us treatment. They're locking us up. Yah is trying to make things uncomfortable for us. He's making us make bricks without straw and say, how long are you going to do this? Not that he wants us to just take up and go to Africa or whatever, but he's trying to get us in the mindset that when he makes a way for us to get out of here, we will not be hesitating. We was like, man, that's why you seen so many people go to Africa last year to visit, because they was like, man, and what was the main thing? A lot of them say, man, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this police brutality. I'm tired of the racism at work. I'm tired of this talking about our hair. We can't wear our natural hair. I'm tired of them portraying us such and such a way. Yah is allowing that to happen. Here said African Americans represent 12.5% of illicit drug dealers, but 29% of those arrested for drug offenses and 33% of those incarcerated in the state facilities are for drug offenses. So of all we make 29% of those arrested. So they're not arresting them and putting them in jail for drug use or small time drug dealers. They're doing us. So that if you want to go out and you get caught with a joint or whatever, which I don't advocate using drugs. I know that's the spirit of pharmakeia, but I'm saying if it's legalized in a lot of states where they are at, and it's criminalized in the states where we're at, the where they have the big cities, this is a plan to put us in prison. Okay, and here's the effects of incarceration. He said a criminal record can reduce the likelihood of a callback or job offer by nearly 50%. The negative impact of a criminal record is twice as large for African American applicants, meaning if you got any kind of prison record, I don't care if it's for non-support, payment of child support, it can hurt you in getting a job. I remember Stephen Darby saying one of the things that he realized, when, I guess from his different time when he did his little stints in jail or whatever, is that hey, I need to start my own business. That's the only way I'm gonna be sure of a secure way of a sure way of taking care of my family, so I won't go back to a dealing. And that's what he said he does. Maybe his well, I ain't gonna say may. I know that he is at the altar right now, up in heaven, and he has a good report for the Most High. But listen to this: infectious diseases are highly concentrated in correction facilities. 15% of jail inmates and 20% of prisoners, compared to 5% of the general population, reported having tuberculosis, hepatitis B and C, HIV and AIDS, and other STDs. And in 2010 alone, the United States spent nearly 81 billion on corrections. Spending on prison and jails has increased at triple the rate of spending on pre-K through 12 public education in the last 30 years. So this is a plan. So Yah is again stirring up the presidents, the pharaohs, the judges, the police commissioners, all of them, to make us make brick without straw, saying you crossed the line, you gonna get slammed, because he wants us to be uncomfortable. This is not y'all's first time. This is not the only time you will see y'all doing this. Let's go to the book of Acts. I'm gonna show you something here that that Yah uses this. Uh, let's go. We're gonna first go to the Acts 1, verse 1 through 11. But Yah sometimes uses contention and strife to separate people. One of the things that someone said a couple weeks, I can't remember who said it, but it made sense. They said one of the reasons why we have this crab in the barrel mentality is because of Yah. Yah said, I will separate and scatter you. And he meant exactly that, meaning up to a certain extent, I'll let some of y'all come together, but not on a mass scale, not until I'm ready. Yah is the author of the crab in the barrel where we can't come together. We always clamoring. Because he said when you was in the land, you wasn't getting along. So since you ain't going to get along, you couldn't get along in the land, you're not going to get along in the places that you go to a certain extent. That's why you had the Black Panthers, and you had Martin, the student nonviolence counts. That's why you had Martin Luther King, you had Malcolm X. At opposite parts, that's why you have black Democrats and black Republicans, because y'all said you ain't gonna, I'm not gonna let you come together. That's why you have black Baptists and black Methodists. Um, that's why you have uh, black feminists, and you got the Don Juan, Bishop Don Juan, the Black Players Association or whatever. That's why he created these frictions and things uh, to exist until he is ready for us to come. Because he's saying, because when you was in the land, I gave you all the things that you needed to do what you needed to do, and you didn't take advantage of it. In the lands that I'm going to scatter and disperse you to, I'm going to make it extremely hard for you to come together. That's not to say that it's not going to happen, but I'm going to make you have to work at it. And now that Yah wants us to get a mindset of coming out of this thing, He is letting this stuff increase. That's why we finding out all this stuff about what they have stole from us, and it's causing a lot of people to get frustrated. Say, why wasn't this stuff told to us? Why did we know about this stuff? And it's making so many of us frustrated and saying, man, it seems like even with the reparations thing where they said pretty much no, they're not going to do it. That is, the fact that everybody else has gotten those since we here, but that we understand that the Congress is not going to do it. But even within that, within blacks, seeking the reparations, that there are fractions in between that, and that's all at the hands of Yah. He's allowed that to happen. But let's go to here Acts 1. And actually, I'm not gonna read all this. I'm gonna just read part of what Yeshua. This is the words of Yeshua. Acts 1:8. He said, "But ye shall receive power after that the Holy Ruach is come upon you, and you shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth." Now, what had happened was they was thinking that the kingdom was going to come then, and Yeshua was letting them know it's not for you to know. You just need to go out and give my word, starting in Jerusalem, then into Judea, and then into Samaria, and then the uttermost parts of the world. Now let's go to Acts 6 and verse 1. He said, "In those days when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrew, because their widows were neglected by the daily ministration." Now, notice this is the 6th chapter. This is years later, because you can't, when they say a few days or whatever, sometimes that means years. We know that this was some years after uh, the thing on Mount Olive, where Yeshua rose up into heaven and led captivity that had been in the Abraham bosom. He led Abraham bosom on high, and the angels that was there. They said, "Why are you gazing up in the sky?" They're saying Yeshua, in the manner that he leaving, he gonna come back. You need to get to spreading that word. We know that years later, here in the 6th chapter of Acts, they still hadn't left Jerusalem. And in fact, what it seemed like it was becoming so multiplied here that it said that they were saying the Grecian widows were not getting taken care of, but the Hebrews was. Yah then was trying to stir up strife and controversy to get the people moving so that they could get out of Jerusalem and go to the next phase. But notice this, they didn't. Notice what they did. They appointed the deacons. They came out with a way around, and they said, "Okay, we're gonna get the deacons to take care of this." But then let's go down to verse in that same chapter. Let's go down to verse 8. And it said, "And Stephen, full of faith and power, did great wonders and miracles among the people. Then there arose certain of the synagogue, which is called the synagogue of the Libertines, and Cyrenians, Alexandrians of Demo, Cilicia, and Asia, disputing with Stephen." Now, whenever you see certain, that means this is not a random chance. This is something that was set in place. This was being set in place because what Yah was going to do, he said, "Okay, since this the dispute with the between the widows is not going to get you stirred up to understand that it's too many of y'all in here. Y'all need to get up and out of Jerusalem and to the other place. I'm going to stir of persecution that's going to get you. And so he started it with these Yahudim that have been living in different parts of Africa that was there in, I guess, in Jerusalem probably for some feast or whatever. He got them to start arguing with Stephen, and we know Stephen's argument that he made in the seventh chapter was brilliant, so brilliant that they couldn't withstand his wisdom, and but they were so full of the devil, we know, that they rushed upon him and they stoned him, and he looked up and he told most Yeshua, who was standing for him not to lay this to their charge. And we know that uh, that this started the whole them to key in on these people that were of the way. They was not Christians. They were called Christians by those in Antioch, but they were of the way, and they were of the sect of the Nazarene. We know that this started a persecution, because what happens? You go to Acts chapter 8 and verse 1, and look what it says here. And it said, and Saul was consenting unto his death, talking about Stephen. And at that time there was a great persecution against the assembly which was at Jerusalem. And they were all what? Scattered abroad throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. Now, if you go back to Acts 1 and 8, what did Yeshua tell them? He said, I want you to go to where? I want you to start in Jerusalem. I want you to go to Judea, and I want you to go to Samaria, and then I want you to go to uttermost parts of the world. Almost 10 or so years later, they finally left because Yah caused the persecution to break out, being led by Saul, who would later become Paul, to chase them out, to cause them to want to get out. And in fact, if you go back to what I was talking about with Pharaoh, Yah said that he was going to cause Pharaoh to chase him out the land. He was going to so destroy Pharaoh's land and so distress the Hebrews that they will be ready to get out, and Pharaoh will be ready for them to get out. And so just Yah uses this sometimes to get us to move. Sometimes he uses persecution. Sometimes he uses harsh situations to stir us up, to get us to move out. Sometimes he can take the death of someone to move us out. Think about Abraham when he was in fact, let's go there. Let's go to Genesis. I want to say, let's go to, okay. Let's go to, all right. Let's go to Genesis 8. Okay. And let me start it. I'm gonna start at verse 1. Genesis 12 and 1 said, now the master said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, into a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation. I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curseth thee. And indeed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed as the master had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance and souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. All right. Let me see. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go. Let's go back to the 11th chapter. I skipped. Okay. Terah. Yeah, the 11. Let's go to 11 and 31. Okay, and Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarah his daughter-in-law, his son's Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Haran died, and Terah died in Haran. Okay, so what had happened was, um, they because of Abram's father Terah, he couldn't go forth. He was in Haran with Terah. Terah means earth, like earth. So at this time, uh, basically, Abram was walking in the flesh because the, the earth, the flesh represents the curse of the earth, which our skin, our body is made out of flesh. So at that time, he was not walking in this. He was basically walking in his flesh. But when you get to the 12th chapter, of Genesis, when Yah calls him a Elohim that you can't see, but he called him, and by faith Abraham went. He was walking in the spirit at that time, but before he was walking in the flesh while he was with his father Terah, who was at Haran. He couldn't walk in the things that Yah wanted him until what Terah, his father, the flesh died. It was the same thing with Isaiah in the 6th chapter. Isaiah, his cousin, King Uzziah, he looked up to him, but he did not have a full on vision of Yah and his glory until what? Until King Uzziah died and went to the leper house, and Isaiah seen him Isaiah is seeing him exactly as he was of the flesh. And so it's the same with us. Yah has to get us. He's got to get us to walk in that way in order for us. We're not gonna get up out of this place until we get that mindset. But Yah is causing the conditions to be laid that's gonna make us want to get up out of here. It's gonna make us want to get our life together once we understand that He is the only one that can stop this some of the stuff that's coming against us. He is putting us in that position so that we will get uncomfortable, so that we will cry out. Because what did he tell Moses and Aaron in that 6th chapter? He said, I heard the cry of the people, and I have come. I'm going to deliver them using you. That's why I'm not gonna let you and Aaron get out of it. No matter how much you cry to me about the people this and the people that, I'm not gonna let you get out of it, because you are gonna be the means by which I'm gonna deliver them. And oh, by the way, I have already solidified my covenant with them before they even got into the mountain. I've already solidified my covenant with them. That's why I'm bringing them out, even though they have not made that pledge to me yet. I'm going to give them the covenant, because I can see in the future that these are going to be my people no matter what. But I need you to execute and get them out. And the way I'm going to help you get them out is I'm going to make Pharaoh make them make bricks without straw. I'm going to make life uncomfortable for them where they won't get out. I got one more analogy to make. Okay. And this was told to me a long time ago, and it only made sense to me. They said it was this man that was he was shipwrecked on a deserted island, and so he had to go scrounge and build him a place to stay, stock it with food, just set up everything, to be able to survive, because he understood, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere on this island. This is a desert island. I don't think no, nobody gonna be able to find me no time soon. So he was going to the other side of the island to get him some supplies to bring back to the hut that he had made. So he was on the other side of the island, and all of a sudden he seen black smoke rising from the into the air, and he dropped what he was doing. He started running. He said, "Oh no, my hut is on fire, man! Oh, I spent all this time building this hut, stocking with food and stuff." So as he was running back toward the hut to try to get to it and put the fire out, he heard a plane coming in, and it was one of those planes that can land in water and come up to the, whatever, into the space, whatever. So as he got back to the hut and stuff, he seen the plane coming in, and the people got off and said, "Oh man, yeah, yeah." He said, "Oh, thank you, God, that you got me, rescued and everything." And then the people said, "Man, it was just crazy. We was flying over the air, we wasn't even paying no attention to the island until we seen that smoke rising from that fire." And then he came to understand. He was complaining about the hut burning, but if it had not been for the hut burning, the plane wouldn't have seen them coming. So in order for him to get what he really needed, something that he really didn't need needed to be taken out of the way. So Yah said your comfortableness, some of these things that you feel comfortable with doing and all this stuff that you can live without. You can live without the debt of Christmas. You can live without some of these crazy foods that we eat and that we shouldn't be eating anyway. You can live without some of that stuff, right? In order to get something better. The enemy wants us to live on surface level, but we must be willing to make some sacrifices. We must be willing to make some sacrifices and make some hard choices. And if we don't, Yah is gonna make those hard choices for us. But as you see, even with Acts, you know, even those that are spirit filled, these people were spirit filled. Peter and the apostles and the deacons, they were all spirit filled, but they could not see that they was not doing what Yah had told them. They had got comfortable being in Jerusalem when Yah had told them, "No, you got to get into Judea and you got to get into Samaria and the othermost part, because the other people got to hear this." And so we here in America, I'm not saying that when we leave here that we're going straight to land. I believe that we need to get out to different places and tell our brothers and sisters all over that's been scattered and dispersed all over the world. We got to get them stirred up to go. So somebody has to go down to Brazil. Somebody has to go down to Central America. Somebody has to go into the Caribbean and Africa and Asia and all these other places and tell these people not just that we are the people. That's, yes, that's cool, but that we need to, that our King is coming back, Yeshua, and that this is going to be our second time to receive Him as our own, and that we must receive Him into our heart. Because look at all the different religions that our people are in. Look at all the religions that we was here in, this all the different forms of Christianity that we was in here, that was not getting us nowhere because it was not of Yah anyway. But think about all the blacks in the Muslim countries and the ones that's in Pakistan and in India that are Hindu, the ones that's uh, Buddhist and all these other things. They got to get the word. He said now and I think I had stated this in a video a long time ago, that is almost like the growth of the body was stunted because we are the natural branch that was grafted back into the branch as the natural branches because we had to, but still the stunt, because Paul had told the Gentiles don't boast against the natural branches, which what they did, and put us to the side. So if we have been put to the side all these thousands of years, the growth of the original thing was stunted. Now we not just grafted in. Now we got to say so as the natural branches, knowing that we are the natural branch, because Yah hid that from us so that we could gain Christ. But now that we have gained, some of us have gained Christ, and we know who we are, now we must give that message to all our brothers and sisters that are in all these different religions around the world and here in America, pulling on them out all of this corruption and stuff that they're in, and let them know that we have a proclamation to give to our people and to those that are grafted in, that we are the people and that the manifestation of the sons of Yah is upon the earth, and that we must come out from Babylon because Yah is getting ready to cast the millstone. So that's our message today. I hope it was a blessing to you. If you like this video, I want you to share it. I want you to like it. I want you to make a comment. I want you to subscribe. Be blessed.